All right, good afternoon. It is just after 2:30. Actually, it is 2:30 right on the dot here. I'm meteorologist Kyle Kiel at the 6 News Now desk in the Kittley QC newsroom with an update on the potential for another round of severe thunderstorms here as we head into the day on Wednesday. First alert day will be in effect, but fortunately it is not looking as widespread as what we had around here last Friday, and that flash flooding risk is on the lower end because these storms are going to be a little more progressive or a little more fast moving than what we saw around here last week. So that's the good news here, but still we need to keep a very close eye on the potential. And yes, we're recording this at 2:30, or I guess we're live at 2:30 here on Tuesday afternoon. So we still have several forecast updates ahead. So it's very important that you stay up to date with the latest first alert forecast. So we'll run through things right now. If you've been outside, yeah, you know, it's a July afternoon. We've got the heat and humidity around as we've got temperatures that are into the 80s, and we do have, well, let's go to the other one here. There we go. We'll go to the sky view there if I know how to work this thing. We've got those fair weather clouds that have bubbled up with those temperatures in the 80s, feeling like the low 90s as we have dew points that are in the low 70s right now. Fun fact for you, we just got through the longest stretch of dew points for at least an hour a day at or above 65 degrees. It was 33 days ending on July 12th. The previous record was 43 days, and that was set back in 2010 from July 4th to August 10th. So if you've thought it's been humid as of late, well, you're not kidding yourself. It's actually scientifically been that way. So let's go ahead and take a look at that first alert day, kind of break down the timing for you. We have that out for noon to 6 here as we head into Wednesday afternoon. So the main threats for those strong to severe storms will be damaging wind gusts. There could be a couple of tornadoes, and the way the atmosphere is set up does not really indicate that there is going to be the potential for any long track tornadoes or any strong tornadoes like the EF2s that we saw in northern Jackson County as well as Scott County. So that's the good news, but we do need to be on guard tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon for that potential of maybe a couple of tornadoes. Right now, the Storm Prediction Center does have us under a level 1 to level 2 risk of severe weather, 5 of course being that highest risk. So let's break down the risk here as we head into tonight. This is what's going to happen. We're going to have these storms develop off to our west. We've got that level 2 to level 3 risk from Omaha back into central Nebraska. That's where we have the potential for some damaging wind gusts, 60 to 70 miles per hour. There's also a tornado and large hail threat. The remnants of those storms are going to move throughout Iowa here as we head into the morning hours on your Wednesday. And what's left over that could create kind of like a mini area of low pressure, and that's going to kind of dictate the storm development here in eastern Iowa and western Illinois as we head into the day on Wednesday. So level 2 risk, especially for hometowns along the Mississippi River and points off to the east. I think the highest tornado risk is likely going to be in northwest Illinois and into portions of Wisconsin, but all of us do have that risk for the potential of damaging wind, and that's outlined here by the Storm Prediction Center. You'll notice we're highlighted in a slightly higher risk for that damaging wind, or I guess a higher probability to see that damaging wind. So that's mainly where that level 2 risk is coming from, which is why we're leading to a damaging wind being that primary threat. Now, normally we say damaging wind, large hail, and tornadoes. The hail threat not really with us here tomorrow, at least any large hail, and that's due in part to how humid it is. We have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, and it's just going to be a little too warm, especially to kind of get those hailstones to grow within the cloud, or at least as they're falling from the cloud, they'll likely melt. So yes, we'll probably get some strong updrafts in these storms, but by the time that hail makes it to the ground, it will likely be smaller size or non-existent just because of how warm it is outside. So not too concerned about hail, but damaging wind obviously the primary threat. And then as we head into that tornado threat, this was kind of trimmed back a little bit, which I agree with. Instead of the majority of the area under a tornado risk, it looks like we'll see, I guess, the northeastern 2/3 of the viewing area. So basically from Muscatine to the Quad Cities, Sterling Rock Falls up to Stockton, Mount Carroll, Galena, and points to the northeast. That's where we are going to have that higher risk for maybe a couple of tornadoes. So again, tornado risk is pretty low end tomorrow, but not zero. So that's why we have to pay close attention to that. Obviously, the one thing you care about is the timing of the storm. So heading into tonight, just start with that, there could be a pop-up shower storm here, especially southeast of the Quad Cities. Not expecting severe weather out of that. We're dry here through the overnight, very warm, very muggy. I mean, you've got dew points that are in the low 70s. That's an indication that our low temperatures will likely be in the lower 70s here tonight. That temperature can't fall below the dew point, so looking at that dew point really helps us forecast that low temperature. But tomorrow morning we'll likely start off with some sunshine, some clouds mixed. Maybe a stray shower here scattered about throughout the morning hours, but notice here by noon, that's when we start to see those storms fire. So what's really key here is whether or not we get this kind of like mini low. I'll take you behind the forecasting curtain. We call this a mesoscale vortex. So it's called an MCV really. So it's basically a little mini area of low pressure that's just kind of like an enhanced area of spin that would lead to that potential tornado threat. So if we get that, that's pretty prominent here tomorrow morning, that's when we're going to be concerned about that isolated tornado threat. But as these storms develop, notice exact track. This particular run is showing kind of that Boeing segment, so that's why we're really showing the potential for damaging wind gusts. It's going to be very warm and humid, so instability is not going to be a problem. It's just the fact of the timing of the cold front in that MCV, or that area of low pressure, if you will. So those are going to be kind of the factors that we're keeping a very close eye on here tomorrow. But by 1 and 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that's when we're going to be tracking hometowns along the Mississippi River for that potential of severe weather. By 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, that moves off to the east, so areas like Mount Carroll, Sterling Rock Falls, Kewanee, Galva, down to Galesburg, Knoxville, even maybe toward Monmouth, could be talking about that potential for severe weather. And that's going to continue to migrate eastward into Bureau County, I would say between 3 and 5 o'clock. And then by 6, it does look like we're going to walk these storm chances out. So again, noon to 6 is going to be that time frame that we're most concerned about for that potential severe weather. Still some timing differences that we really need to work out. So we hope to do that here later this evening and especially tomorrow morning. The good news here is that it does look like Thursday is trending a little bit drier. Could have a couple of showers early in the day southeast of the Quad Cities, but overall behind that cold front, not only will it be less humid, but we have lower chances of rain. And it's going to be cooler as well. Tomorrow we're going to have high temperatures close to 90 degrees. By Thursday, some of us won't even get out of the 70s. Talk about a sharp difference there. Now, the one thing you're probably wondering, especially if you've been impacted by the flash flooding, not only Friday night, but Thursday night of last week as well, you're probably wondering about the rainfall. It's great to see that we don't have widespread crazy colors on here indicating, crazy rainfall totals, but we could see some hometowns get anywhere from a ½ inch to 1 inch of rain. It'll be very sporadic across the region. If we do get a storm that lingers in an area for too long and maybe has a 1 to 1.5 inch per hour rate of rainfall, that's where we could see some ponding on the roads, but the overall flash flood risk is low because we do see that lower risk for training thunderstorms like we had around here last week. So definitely some things working in our favor as far as that flash flood threat goes. So lots to keep track of here as we head over the next 24 hours or so, 24 to 30 hours or so. Again, not a high risk for severe weather or a widespread risk, but certainly something that we certainly need to keep a close eye on. So I'm going to go through maybe a couple of the comments here and see what we got going on. Joe's asking the percentage roughly of the Quad Cities getting hit. That's kind of hard to determine right now. We've got 50% shot, and I know that sounds silly, like a 50-50 shot that it will or won't happen, but the Quad Cities is definitely one of the areas that has the higher chance of seeing a thunderstorm tomorrow, which is why we've had that first alert day issued. So that's something that we're going to continue to keep a really close eye on. I'm going to pull that first alert day up just real quick so you get the details on that. Adrian, hopefully you caught the timing of the storms. It'll be noon where we start to see those storms off to our west, and then it'll slide east through about 5 or 6 p.m. That timing's a little bit of a rough estimate right now. Really, we're going to have a better idea late tonight as we see those storms develop to our west, and then obviously tomorrow morning when you watch Quad Cities today, we'll kind of have a better idea on that timing. So Dixon, Iowa, Mike, is included in that. So we'll certainly keep an eye on that. Obviously, we're getting some new models in right now, model runs in right now. So we're going to kind of look over the latest guidance. I'm going to have a live update on KWQC right around 3:30 during Quad Cities Live on that potential severe weather. And then Chief Meteorologist Eric Maitland will be in for the news at 4, 5, 6, and 10 with continued updates. But in the meantime, from the 6 News Now desk, I'm First Alert Meteorologist Kyle Kiel. Thank you so much, and download the KWQC First Alert weather app for continued weather updates. Thanks for watching.